Hello. Today we're going to make a French vanilla cappuccino. And we're going to make a mocha with no whip. A mocha usually comes with whipped cream, but my customer has requested no whip. And I'm quite busy. Let's say I have a big lineup, so I want to just make the two at the same time. So I have a mocha and I have a cappuccino. And as we went over in the original recipe lesson, a cappuccino is 1/3 espresso, 1/3 steamed milk, and 1/3 foam. Equal amounts, a third, a third, a third. And our mocha has 1/3 espresso and hot chocolate milk. And generally the ratio is the same. It's kind of like a chocolate cappuccino and you're using whipped cream. But my customer today, he just wants a regular mocha with no whip. So we're going to make 2 shots of espresso, and I'm going to steam the milk for the cappuccino, and then I'm going to add the chocolate to make the milk chocolate after I pour my cappuccino and then pour my mocha. So that way I'm only using 1 pot of milk and 1 motion for the 2 shots of espresso and 2 different size cups. So I'm going to demo that for you right now. So right away, bean grinder. Always, 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 always turn the bean grinder on. Whether you've got enough ground espresso in here to make your drinks, doesn't matter. Every single customer has to have that feeling, and they hear that sound of that fresh ground coffee, and that's for me. That's the fresh grinding the espresso. So you'll always turn it on automatically, however long you want. You'll take, as we covered before, the portafilter. This particular portafilter, you guys remember, is a single, and it has a filter and it's portable. I can walk around with it. That's why it's called a portable filter. And the terminology is just very important when you're really busy and you can't find these instead of describing them. Okay, so I have a preset. You put your portable filter in here, you turn your grinder on, getting ready for the shot, and you pull all the way forward and all the way back. And once you have pulled a few doses, they're called, of the espresso, you're going to tamp. You could have a little bit of a mountain on top if you like, and you're going to tamp it. And we were talking about, this is called a tamper. A couple different kinds. Everyone has a little preference. Mine is turquoise. So a good word association to remember what the tamper is don't tamper with the tamper. So this is your tamper, and here is your shot. And you're going to tamp that down. Generally, you'll do it on something. So you're nice and pressing it right down, not in midair, so you get a little bit more of a correct tamp. Sometimes there's some grinds around the outside. You'll see baristas sometimes banging it, evening it out. You'll hear that sound, if it sounds familiar. And that just sort of, all the little hang-ons go right back in, and you give it another really quick tamp, and now you're all set. You should see the ridge. You should just see the top of the ridge, and that is the perfect amount of espresso. Some people are very particular though. They will weigh their shots, weigh the amount of coffee, espresso that's going into the portafilter, and then do it. You can. There's no right and wrong. Everyone has their own technique. I'm teaching you authentic Italian, but also based on high volume. So if you were weighing every shot and you had a 10-hour lineup at a festival, for example, the amount of money that you make in a day is how fast you can take it and how fast you can make it. So we're going to load the espresso machine for the 2 coffees. We're making a cappuccino and we're making a mocha with no whip. We're going to load, every cappuccino machine loads from the left and tightens to the right. They always load the same way. They load from the left-hand side and they tighten to the right. Make sure that's nice and tight. And make sure that you have both of these little notches they kind of go up. If you want to cheat a little bit and look and see where it is, and they just automatically go up there. Make sure that you've got the two of them loaded. Sometimes the portafilter will load one side only, and you think you got it, it kind of goes a little farther around than normal. Do not pull a shot unless you're absolutely positive you've got both sides of that loaded and it's nice and snug. Otherwise it becomes a real mess. Okay, so we've got our shots loaded very quickly. I have prepped, poured the milk ready for our shot of our drinks. And I've got the milk about 3/4. It's about up to just below the spout on the inside here. I know it's a larger pot. We are making 2 coffees. We're all making 2 specialty drinks. Also, I need a lot of foam for my cappuccino. So what makes the best foam and the easiest way to do foam for cappuccinos is using cold skim milk. And so that's what I'm using. And I've given myself lots of room inside the pot for that foam to grow and get bigger, because as I steam the milk and as it reaches temperature, the milk tends to expand and get a little bit higher and higher and higher, and I don't want it to overflow. So that's why I've got my skim milk cold and 3/4 full, give or take. And we're just about ready to start that. Knowing when the right temperature is for your milk. You can use a temperature gauge. A lot of our baristas will use the actual temperature gauge. There we are. It actually clips right into any pot. It's just clipped on there, and you can watch and follow it. A lot of my baristas, I do teach them by sound. So if you're using the temperature gauge, when it reaches 60 degrees, you're going to pull it off. It'll continue to climb up probably past 74, which is the magic heating soup, reheating food temperature if you're applying your BC Food Safe. So some people will use the temperature gauge, or you can go by sound, go by ear. When it sounds like the airplane is taking off, like a jet, like WestJet's just taking right off there, or Air Canada, or Sunwing. You've got an airplane taking off and it starts to get quiet, and that's sort of the distinct sound of when the milk is ready. So let's try that. So this is the steaming wand, and we're going to put the milk. I'm just going to move the camera just a little closer. There we are. There. Okay. So we're going to put the steaming wand in the milk. It's going to just be a little bit below the surface, and we're going to move it up and down, and that's how those air bubbles are grasping, and they're grabbing, and they're just sort of shooting a little bit of air and making your foam. If the bubbles are really big, however, if you're moving your steaming pot up and down a little too up and down, a little too far out of the milk, it could splash you. And also, if you see really large, big bubbles, you're coming out of the milk a little too far. So just kind of try and keep it on the surface. And a lot of baristas will tend to move their steaming pot up and down just to hit that sweet spot where it's creating foam. Another thing that baristas just want to let you know, and I mean, this is some of the feedback that I get. Sometimes people will decide that the milk temperature is correct by putting their hand on the pot. And some people will tend to feel heat differently. So I never advise my baristas to possibly burn themselves. So use that temperature gauge or use your sound. And generally there's using the hand on the pot and I think it's ready. It doesn't look as professional for some of your customers, especially for a new barista just starting. It's sort of all over the board, but just heads up, don't burn yourself, don't hurt yourself. And we're going to stick this wand right in the milk, and we're going to lift this up. I'm only going to put the steam, this is a commercial machine, so I'm only going to bring the steam up about halfway. There we are. There's your sound. And that little pop, just sort of like someone's like whispering, hey, that's the sound you're looking for. And moving up and down, especially when you're a new barista, there is a nice little sweet spot that a little bit of training and experience, you'll be able to sort of feel like, oh, that's the spot where I'm making foam. But when you're new, just moving it up and down. And as the foam starts to rise, you don't want to have the wand foaming foam. So as the foam starts to rise, I'm watching it rise a little bit, I'm going to go a little deeper into the milk. You hear the airplane? Oh, there it goes. The airplane is off and running. Generally, you'll wipe your wand right away. You'll also give it a little purge. If there's any milk left in the line, especially like different kinds of milks, it always like gets it out of the line. And you wipe that right away. And remember, everything silver is very hot. So we have our milk ready. And we've also got some nice pretty cappuccino foam all set there for you. And now what we're going to do is, this is going to be my cappuccino and this is going to be my mocha. So I'm going to pour, whenever you can pour a shot of espresso into the actual drink, it's always better instead of pouring it into another item. Let's say a shot pot to pour into. These are great for iced drinks and colder drinks. But whenever you can pour a shot right into the cup, you're going to get every single bit of that incredible shot of espresso with all the crema going right into the actual drink. And this is a double portafilter, and so it actually makes two drinks at the same time. And we're going to, this one doesn't quite fit, but it will. I just tucked it under there and it does. Some of the machines are made so that they have, there's a lot of room between the portafilter and where the shot's coming out and the actual cup. And you can use smaller cups and you can use really tall cups. And the smaller cups have a little kind of a bench to sit on to be closer. So this is just adapting to get that shot right into the cup. I'm going to hit, we're using the single shot, double shot, single shot, longer, double shot, longer, and a continuous shot. Most espresso machines will have that. We normally would caliber a shot in a place so the barista would just press the button and it would automatically stop where it should stop, about 1.5 ounces, depending on the recipe of the house. That's generally, we use 1.5 ounces for a shot of espresso. Because I use this machine for training, I like to just stop the machine, eyeball it. This is a third, and teach you how to use a machine and make that exact recipe, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Let's say for a cappuccino, we want that to be exact no matter what the machine is pushing out as far as a shot. So we're going to just hit that double shot. There we go. And the espresso starts to come out, pouring into both cups. It changes to a beautiful gold color, and it's kind of coming out sort of typically like honey dripping. If it comes out sort of really watery, maybe you got to press your tamp down a little bit more, and it just won't come out so fast. And if you're pressing really lightly, say, or if you're pressing really strongly, it's the opposite. It's really having a hard time. So I'm definitely, I'm going to stop that right there, and I'm definitely got my 2 shots done. And beautiful crema, if you can see that there, that's that nice gold crema on the top. If we were doing an espresso or an Americano, that would be lovely to see. We're gonna put some milk in it though. First of all, we have our cappuccino, which I'm going to hold back the foam so I can make sure that I've got my 1/3 milk. I'm gonna pour my milk in there. There we go. And then I'm going to drop my foam on top. There we go. And kind of like Dairy Queen, you can and there is a beautiful dry cappuccino with your foam. Okay. And just quickly, I'm going to make that mocha. I'm just going to grab some chocolate sauce. Don't go away. And sometimes you can use chocolate milk. That's another way of doing it. Or a lot of places have a pump of that nice Giardardi chocolate sauce. I'm going to just give 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. I'm going to stir that up. And I'm going to pull and pour a little bit. And now I've got that beautiful chocolate milk and a mocha. There we are. If you're serving, there. A nice chocolate. Typically a mocha, like I said, has a little bit of whipped cream on there. This customer has asked me for no whip. Sometimes what you can do is ask if people want a little bit of sprinkles on it. It's another thing too. And voila. Now I would serve those with a spoon on the side. And I would also give them a napkin sort of ahead of time. And off they go. Thank you.